I was looking at how you enjoy every single moment of life, no matter where life puts you, and I was thinking this is the true high level mastery of enjoying your life and being happy. How did you get there?
That's a fabulous question. I'm going to tell you how I got there. When you put your kids to bed at night, they are captive audiences. They want you in there. That's the time to get them to talk. Now, you can tell your kids that, but you have to add one caveat. This to me is the greatest thing I teach. No matter what you do, somebody's not going to like it, so you may as well do what you want. However, before you do anything, stop and ask yourself, what might the consequences of my actions be? And do I want to live with those consequences?
Good morning, good evening, good night for some people. It's a little unusual time for me to go live today this early for me in Malaysia, but it's evening in US. And today I'm going to have an honest conversation with a friend of mine, with an amazing woman, Shelly Lefkoe, and I'm just waiting for her to join this conversation, and then I'll put her through the line so that we can have a chat. I hope Shelly can find her way to this live chat. Just had a little conversation with her in Messenger, and she should be here soon. So Shelly is an amazing woman. I know her for a few years now through a very interesting network of authors and speakers called Transformational Leadership Council. So we're basically in a similar industry. It's a network of a group of authors and speakers that was put together by Jack Canfield, famous author of the series of the books Chicken Soup for the Soul, and that's how I know Shelly, through that group. But on another note, Shelly is probably my foremost authority in being a parent. Shelly is a psychologist, and I believe so, and she's a therapist helping children and parents to figure out their relationship, to navigate the relationship between children and parents. I'm not sure if we are planning to talk about parenting right now. Most likely we will talk a little bit about how to go about children in this time. But more than that, I think my huge inspiration in Shelly is that she is a really, truly happy person to the very core.
Yay! Oh my God. I've done 4,000 interviews, but never on Instagram. So this is my version voyage.
Good evening, I believe. It's evening for you, right?
Yes.
So Shelly, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you figured out how to join this thing. I know it's your first time in this format.
I'm good.
I think it's going to be very common nowadays, because so many people are going live nowadays through every platform possible, because there's no other platform anyway. So I was trying to explain a little bit how I know you through Jack's group, and that your expertise is mostly parents and children psychology. But I was just about to reveal that what inspires me the most about you is the fact that you've been through quite a lot of stuff in your life, but you are one of those few people in my life who's truly happy to the core. And I remember one of my last lessons, because I always have a lot of lessons about children with you, but one of my last lessons was looking at you we were in Pula, right? And I was looking at how you enjoy every single moment of life, no matter where life puts you. And I was thinking, this is the true high level mastery of enjoying your life and being happy. How did you get there?
That's a fabulous question. I'm going to tell you how I got there, and I'm going to tell you how I stay there. And I think it'll be interesting for your viewers, because I actually have a tool, nothing to sell. I have a tool to give you, to teach you to get through this virus differently than anybody else does. And it's really simple. But I'll go back first. So I was very, very, very blessed, Kristina. I had a mother who, and it's funny because the stuff that I've had to work on in my life to get to where I am also came from this. So there was positive and negative from it. But my mother only wanted me to be happy. That was her only desire in life, was that my brother and I were happy. And so if I wasn't happy, she would say, oh, your friend hurt you? I'll get you a new friend. Or, oh, don't cry, Mamala. So I used to have a belief that I'm in the belief business, before my parenting business came from my belief. I help people eliminate the beliefs that keep them stuck. So my belief was that, first of all, life should be fun. We should be happy. And, life is too short to be miserable. And that it also didn't change anything. After as you know, of course, my beloved husband, who was my best friend, my business partner, my husband, died. And one of my beliefs is so I grieved, I cried, I was sad, it was horrible. But staying sad wouldn't bring him back. And if I'm going to be in this life, I don't want to be sad. I just have no interest. So I kind of use this technique and this process that I'm going to teach you to always return to happiness and joy, because my belief is there's no point in not being happy. It's, why not? And what I learned from my own journey is that happiness doesn't come from your circumstances. You generate happiness. You bring happiness to your life. The other thing I just want to say, and I practice gratitude a lot. And, I can sit here and look at my daughter's in Hawaii. My other daughter is here, but can't really come and see me. And she's skiing in Tahoe, and she's snowboarding and doing whatever. And I'm alone. And this is not a time you want to be alone. But instead of focusing on my aloneness, I focus on what I get to look at. It's just so gorgeous here. I focus on the fact that at 6 o'clock, when I finish with you, I'm going to go walk with Trisha. We're going to do a socially distant hike. And I'm so grateful for my health. And I'm grateful that, I always think of you as my red sister. You're my sister in red. And I just love getting dressed up with you and doing our little red thing.
I'm not quite red today, a little bit there.
Oh, I almost put on a red top, but I didn't have time after my session. So those are the things that that I think keep me happy, is that I try to focus on what I'm grateful for. I'm so grateful for my health. I'm grateful that I live in a gorgeous place. I'm grateful that I can exercise during all this. I'm grateful that I have work that I love, that helps people. So I think that I'm grateful that I have you in my life. I really am. You're just such a joy in my life. From the minute I met you, we just had that connection. Yes?
Thank you. Yes. That's the picture I shared actually when I announced your interview.
Oh, you did? Oh, yay! Yay! God, where in the world were we? Were we in Pula? No,
that was I think I did. No, it wasn't Jamaica. It was Costa Rica.
That's right. Yeah. It was Costa Rica. Yeah.
Shelley, but once in a while, this grief does come over people, and in your case, it's something which everybody understands. You loved your husband, but sometimes we get grief and we don't even understand. It may be grief of of the lost world or reality or something, and it comes over you. So, what do you do in those moments?
So the underpinning of my work is that events, what happens, has no inherent meaning. So you don't know anything for sure because something happens, right? So your situation, you still share your children, divorce doesn't have to be messy and nasty and ugly. You can travel together, you can still be family. So just because something happens doesn't mean anything. Now, let me just clean that up. That's not to say it doesn't matter or it's no big deal, but no meaning is to say we don't know anything for sure because something happens. So anytime you feel grief, it's my experience, Kristina, is when people feel sad or grief or unhappy, there's something. It's not usually generalized. That's more clinical generalized depression is something completely different. But even depression is hopeless, helpless, powerless, right? So anytime you have a negative emotion, and I'll give you some examples in a minute, if you stop and you ask yourself, what just happened? My husband died. What meaning did I give it? See, because I can cry and grieve and be sad, but not wanting to get out of bed, that's where the meaning comes in. So I'm never going to love again. My business is going to tank. I'm going to starve to death. I'll be alone forever. Nobody's going to want me because I'm old. Those are meanings that keep me in bed. So when I stop and say, what just happened? My husband died. What meaning did I give it? I'm going to starve to death. I'm going to starve to death is not in the events. It's out here. So the first way you do it is to separate the event from the meaning. I got divorced. I'm going to be alone. Or we can't be a family. That's meaning. That's not in the events. Right? My husband was divorced and his first wife was my kid's Aunt Darlene. So we had she was family. So anything that happens where you have any negative emotion, the coronavirus, my client, just before I got on here, she got on and she said, this was a woman who lived in terror of being alone. So when her husband traveled, she took her kids and went to somebody else's house. That's how scared she was. Okay. Now, not forget that she's now staying alone. She got on just now. I swear to God, this is what she said to me. She said, Shelly, I feel no anxiety. She said, every time I start to get a little anxious, I say, what happened? There's a virus out there. It doesn't mean I'm going to get sick. And if I do get sick, it doesn't mean I'm going to die. And it doesn't mean that it's never going to pass. And it doesn't mean anything. That's not to say people aren't dying. It's not to say you should be silly and go to your friend's house. But it doesn't mean, even if you lost your job, it doesn't mean you're going to never get another job or you're not going to get a better job. So the way in which you do it is, if you can do it the easy way by just separating it, that will take the emotion away. Somebody just cut me off. He's an idiot.
Mhm.
Well, it could mean he's an idiot, and it could mean he's rushing to the hospital because his wife's having a baby.
Mm.
But the fact that he cut you off doesn't have meaning.
Mm.
So if you brainstorm other interpretations than the one that you're giving, I promise you the emotion will go away.
Mm.
So that's how I stay happy. Anytime I see myself going down the rabbit hole, I stop, I do that process, and the emotion goes away. And then I choose happiness.
Oh, thank you so much. I actually really love this concept of meaning, separating meaning from the event, and understanding that, you know, the event doesn't have a meaning, which doesn't mean it doesn't matter. So I think I'm so grateful actually you shared that, because I've thought about that a few times, but you know, it has to be a habit to actually function regularly. You know, as we were talking, I wanted to ask one more thing. So since we are talking a little bit about the quarantine and the situation, so obviously a lot of grown-up people are going through strong emotions, and one day you're fine, the other day you're not so fine. You know, sometimes you're very, very okay, the other day you just feel like not getting out of bed. And as many people as I've talked, you know, we show the facade that we are fine, but almost everyone I've talked to have had their ups and downs.
Me
I
included.
I had on Friday my down. I was just so overworked.
Yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, so, but my question is, you know, I have children in the house and they seem fine, but they seem fine. But obviously they are not blind, and well, especially the 12-year-old, and even the 6-year-old, they feel, they see, and they probably catch. And I don't have the habit of hiding if I'm having my breakdowns or whatever, because I don't want them to think that, you know, this is something to be ashamed of. So if I have a moody day, they would know I have a moody day. So how do we know if the children in our family are actually fine with what is going on? And how do we know if they actually need support, and how can we support them? Because they're not talking like we do. They just feel and live, and you know, and I believe they do notice everything, and they realize it's not just a holiday at home.
Yes, that's a fabulous, fabulous question. I want to take it in two parts. So the first piece, when I say that you can get rid of a negative emotion, I'm not telling you not to have your emotions. I had a day yesterday, a down day, and I talked to my daughter in Hawaii, and I don't usually have a lot of friends that I can cry to. And she said something, and I just started crying. You know, I am very relational. I miss human contact. I want to hug. You know me. I'm an extreme
Yeah.
introvert, extrovert, an extreme extrovert. I need to touch people and hold people, and I'm a lover. So yesterday, I just felt alone. And at some point, I allowed myself to feel that, and it wasn't anything that happened, or I was just tired of being alone. I'm just tired of it, and I don't like it. So it's fine to have your emotions, but if it starts overtaking you, that's where you do the process, right? And the fact that I'm alone doesn't mean I'm always going to be alone. And it doesn't mean this is not going to end. And it doesn't mean I can't see friends. And, my girlfriend and I went on a hike, and she surprised me and brought some tequila and shot glasses. We sat on the side of the hill, 6 feet apart, and drank tequila. It was hilarious, So, children. My parents and an entire generation lived through the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
And many, many people formed beliefs about money that informed the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad, no matter how much money he had, it was always, it's not enough, we need money, right? He was always scared about money, and it ran his life. And I think this quarantine, children come into this world and they don't know anything. They don't know if they're safe or not safe. They don't know if life is fun or life is hard. So they look at you for answers. And they're going to get answers by watching what you do, what you say, how you behave. And I have a 6-year-old grandson, and I'm talking to him about, what do you think about this quarantine? What do you think about the virus? What do you understand about it? How is it for you not being able to see your friends or play sports? I am a big believer in asking questions and listening.
Mm.
And then when they don't talk, don't talk. Just wait. And when you're 110% sure that they have nothing else to say, you can say to them, what I want you to know is, I'm here, you're safe, and we are going to stay safe. We're going to do everything to stay safe. So obviously you can't promise your kid nothing's going to happen, but you can say to them, right now, we are safe. Mommy's doing everything to make sure that we're safe, and we're going to be okay. And the truth pretty much is most people are going to be okay. So I think finding out, and then after the fact, you know, most people want to do everything in the crisis. Your kid is crying, you want to fix it. Something's happening, we all want to run in and fix it. When you put your kids to bed at night, they are captive audiences. They want you in there. That's the time to get them to talk. So you could say to them when you're tucking them in, you know, what are your thoughts about, you know, depending on their ages, obviously, you know, like Eve is a little young, you know, so you might, you know, say to her, Eve, do you have any thoughts about why school is closed, or any questions you want to ask me, or do you have any fears or anything you're worried about? You know, and you can ask them that all the time, not just in a virus.
It's a good practice to ask questions, right? How the child is doing.
Yes, and specific, the more specific, the better. The more narrow the question, the more likely you are to get an answer. How was your day? Anybody ever ask your kid how your day was? Fine.
Yes.
What happened today that
Yeah.
made you think? What happened today that pressed your creative button? What happened today with a friend that you wished didn't happen? And they might say nothing, but they might tell you. I had somebody find out that I coached, find out that that her son was being bullied. He was afraid to tell her, but she asked a question and that was the answer she got.
Oh, wow. I think we grown-ups sometimes assume that if everything is off, the child will show or tell or somehow. So now that my kids are growing
Yes.
up, that's the thing that I'm most afraid of. Like, what are the markers that you're missing something or you're losing it? And for me, I think this asking questions is the right answer, probably.
Yes. And limit, I know I'm going to get feedback from this, but limit times on screens.
Yeah.
Have them, there's mommy and, you know, Eve time, you know, there's quiet time with a book, you know, it is the most important thing to get your kids, because two things. Number one, they design video games to be addicting. That's how they're designed. The colors, the music, everything they do is designed to get your kid addicted. And when you're there, just like with food, just like with alcohol, just like us with TV, you know, your problems don't exist. So it's a great place to go and hide. And that's why I think pulling your child out of themselves is so important because they have, somebody asked me, Mia, our friend Mia, we have a lot of mutual friends, right? So our friend Mia asked me, we were having a girlfriend chat on video. And she said, what are you learning about yourself during this time? It was a great question, you know? So to ask your kids, you know, what are you learning about yourself being by yourself without your friends? What are you learning about yourself when you're not on screens? And it's teaching them to go inside.
You know, I find it interesting. Well, first of all, my kids are actually less on screen now that they have no other entertainment. I think they kind of got their measure and now they're like, okay, what else can we do? But more than that, what I wanted to say is that I think my biggest problem is that I do so much, you know, online. So I'm often on the phone doing work, sometimes on computer, but more on the phone because it's easier. So I realized that this, you know, I can tell them whatever I want, but if I spend my evening checking something on my phone, then, you know, isn't that futile to be demanding something else of my child?
Well, you know, my soapbox. My soapbox is either either look at your phone or look at your kid. Do not do both. And I can tell you with great certainty, and again, I can get flack, I don't care. This is my experience of 30 years. And I don't mean I don't care. I do care. I want people to get this. When you look at your phone and you don't give your children attention, they are likely to conclude, I'm not important. I told a woman in a restaurant, we were sitting outside having brunch, and her daughter was talking to her and she's listening, looking at her phone. And normally I don't say anything. And I said to her, I'm a parenting educator. I said, would you mind if I gave you a little feedback? And she said, not at all. And I said to her, when you're talking on your phone, when you're looking at your phone and your child is talking to her, she doesn't feel important. And she looked at me, Kristina, she went like this, oh my God, that's how I feel when my husband does that to me.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The difference is she feels that way. Kids actually conclude, I'm not important.
That's true.
And it is okay to say to your children, listen, you guys are the most important thing in the world to me, and mommy has to work. And sometimes I'm going to be on the phone and I can't give you my attention. Not because you're not important, not because what you have to say is not important, but because I'm working. You can say, oh, I'm looking for my phone.
It's here.
It's right there. You can say, hold on a second. What you have to say to me is very important and I can't listen right now. When I'm off the phone, in an hour, in 2 days, whenever it's going to be, but you will have my undivided attention. Sorry. That takes 11 seconds.
Shelly, can I ask you a slightly unpolite question?
Yes.
So when I'm working, I get it. I'm generally in a decent mood and decent state of mind because, you know, work is a good thing. But sometimes, and right now I think a lot of us feel like this, sometimes you just get tired. Like, I think yesterday I was just like, it's too much. Normally I go out, I work, I don't have to do too much. Right now I don't have a lot of help at home. So I feel like I serve and take care of everyone all the time. And sometimes I'm sitting either with my phone or my book and I'm like, guys, just leave me alone. And then the kids start coming and I remember that. But what do you do when you genuinely feel like, you know what, right now, I just can't do that. I want to have my own time.
So first of all, iMessages rarely hurt your children. I need I feel I want, as opposed to you're a pain in the neck. See, I don't like leave me alone because I have too many clients who have the belief I'm a burden. So I'm not crazy about leaving alone. But you certainly, and that's not going to damage them. It's just not something I would encourage. But again, when you wait until you're in a mood and now all of a sudden, I just don't want to be around kids. No, you have to set it up in advance. There are going to be times when mommy needs some space to regenerate, to replenish, to, like a plant needs water. Mommy, my water for me to grow and be the best mommy is for me to have some alone time. And for the kids, you can ask them, do you ever want to just play by yourself or not be with your sister or not be with your brother? But grown-ups really need that. And I always used to tell my kids, I want to be the best. See, I want to be the best mommy I could be. And taking a bath right now, and I always found that when there's a door to close and you're in the bath where there's a locked door, if they're old enough, that's the best way to do it. Or mommy's meditating, and have mommy time every day. And you don't have to meditate. You can close the door. They don't know what you're doing. You could read a book. You could do anything you want in there. Have sex. I don't care. But let them know that, and this is the message that you're giving them. It is okay to have needs, and it is okay for you to ask for what you want. And it is okay for you to have boundaries.
These are good beliefs.
Yeah, you are important to me, and I need time. I need time for myself. I work. I'm a mom. I have chores. I have a lot to do. And sometimes I just need some playtime, alone time. That's what I like. Alone time. And that's it. And if they don't honor it, then you have to go in the room and lock the door. Or close the door. Or say to them, I'm not taking myself away. I'm here if you need me. But I would really appreciate it if you would. That's my favorite line. I would appreciate it if you would honor my requests. And if they don't, you could sit down. This is something I did once. I would ask my kids to do things, and they would say, oh, I forgot. I forgot. So one night, 6 o'clock, they walk into the kitchen and they say, where's dinner? And I said, I forgot. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'm going to meet Kim. I'll see you guys later. And I left. 2 nights in a row. Next night, oh, I forgot. And I told Morty I was doing it, And they got to experience there's a consequence when you forget. So in your case, the next time they wanted something, I would just not give it to them and do the opposite and say, this is how I feel when you don't honor my alone time. And I would ask them, do you feel respected right now? If they said, Mommy, I don't want to talk about it. And you said, no, you have to talk about it. I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Or whatever they say. And you go, and you keep doing that. Or I want to do it by myself. And you say, no, I'll do it with you. And you'd say to them, do you feel like I am respecting your wishes right now? And they say, no. And I say, and it doesn't feel good, right? That's how I feel when you don't let me be alone. I would also set a timer for your alone time so that they have a timer. And they know
that they know.
Yeah.
But then I'll be pressed for time. It's like, oh, I have 5 minutes more left to be by myself. Shelly, I need to ask this question. It's not related to current situation, but it is about children because people have asked me, and for me, it's a little bit of a blur. And I know that you were you were helping us through that process, but when me and Vishen decided to separate, we had the big question: how do we tell the children? And people have asked me later, and I was like, I don't remember. But that aside, sometimes we make big decisions in our lives, whether it's to separate or I'm seriously considering moving to Europe right now. So how do you go about such big decisions, family decisions with your children? How do you talk to children about things like that? Because I'm sure, this situation will maybe cause a lot of big decisions for families because we suddenly see the world in a different way. So can you advise, how do you communicate these big things to your children, and how much do you actually discuss with them?
So first thing is, kids are resilient. They're going to be okay. If you give them, kids want three things: affection, attention, acknowledgement. I'm going to say four things. They want to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing is for them to know they have a mother and or another mother or a father or two fathers, whatever your situation is. They have one parent or two parents or four parents, and
Mm-hmm.
those people are there for them no matter what. Mm-hmm. And wherever we go, whatever we do, we're going to be okay. And I am going to make sure that your life is set up to work. I'm going to make sure you have friends. I'm going to make sure you're in a good school. We're going to be okay. We're just moving our family. And I know this may be hard for you. It's like you're having a baby. Everybody tells the kid, oh, you're going to love the baby. I didn't love him. My brother came home. I said, take him back. I hate him. I don't want a brother. I was 5.5 years old. I was Queen of the May. I wasn't interested.
Hayden said about the same. He's like, oh, Eve has been here a few days now. Can we take her back?
Yeah. There's a line between making children, and I use this making, you can't make anybody anything, but making children feel responsible as opposed to, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
And letting them know it's also up to them to generate, and again, age appropriate. It's up to them to generate and create their life. They're not victims. That's what you want to model to your kids. The belief I'm powerless is a belief I work with way too often with grown-ups. I work with grown-ups. I don't work with kids. And the belief I'm powerless comes from not having a say, not being able to stop your parents from fighting, children feel very responsible, believe it or not, like the divorce is my fault. And that was one of the things that I told you in Vision, is to let kids know that this is not your fault. This has nothing to do with you. We both love you very much. And we're not happy living together. We're not a good fit anymore. So we're going to do something different. And we love you and you're going to be okay. And we're going to be loving to each other. We're just not living together. So in any chance, like Blakey said to, my daughter Blake said to my grandson, she was just telling us today we had a family Zoom call. And she said that she said to her son, there's been a lot of changes. Daddy got his own house and mommy got her own house. And, and now, you can't see your friends and play sports. And Uncle Mike, she had a roommate. Now he's moving out, and she had a boyfriend, and today they broke up. So, there's a lot of changes going on. What are you thinking to yourself? What are you feeling? And my grandson is not a kid who wants to talk. Yeah, he's not a kid who talks about his feelings. So we're just going to watch, Is he eating? Is he happy? Is he doing his schoolwork? Is there anything different? Is he playing more video games? Is he sleeping? Is he, because again, he's not the kind of kid who's going to go, oh, I'm feeling this way and I wish parents were still together. Now, when he's with me, we'll be riding in the car and he'll tell me things.
Mhm.
He walked in on Daddy having sex, it's just like,
Wow.
and it was very fast, and and I said to him, what did you think? And he goes, that I couldn't go into bed with Daddy. That's what it's about for him. It's not about, he wakes up in the middle of the night, he wants to go in his father's bed. It wasn't the sex. He didn't care. It wasn't an issue. It was, and I said, but what, and so he talks when he's ready to talk.
Mm.
And I will keep asking him, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? How was it for you when this happened?
Mm.
That's how you stay connected. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel, we're moving. My mother was going to this is a bizarre story. I grew up in an apartment building. We were in a 2-bedroom apartment. We were going to move into a 3-bedroom apartment. She said I cried hysterically that I didn't want to move. I was like so scared of the change, or I don't know what. So you could say to a kid, it might be, is it scary for you? Is it exciting for you? You don't want to put things in either. It might be exciting for them. It might be scary. It might be both.
But what do you do with, if a child says, I don't want, or we can't give this decision to children, right? But on the other hand, we want them to feel that they do have a choice, or they do have an opinion, and they have the right for that. So what do you do if, let's say, the child says, whether it's moving to a new place or divorcing, I don't want?
Validate feelings. Validate feelings. And then validate feelings. I can't say this enough. I want you to keep hearing my voice in your head saying validate feelings. You say, I hear you. You really wish Daddy and I were staying together. I got it, sweetheart. I got it. Need a hug? You don't want to move. You want to stay here. All your friends are here. Oh, honey, I got it. I got it. And stop talking. You parents, we all want to fix it. Oh, but it's going to be wonderful where we move. I mean, can you imagine you say to me, I'm so sad that Vishen and I are getting a divorce. And I say, oh, Kristina, you're gorgeous. You're going to meet somebody. I'm telling you, you're going to be so happy. You'd be stuck with that feeling. But if I said to you, I got it, sweetie. It's really sad that your marriage is ending. I got it. Just be present. It's a gift.
But we do that to everyone. Like, people share something with us, and our two reactions: either we share that we had a similar experience, it's like, oh yeah, I've been through that too, or we say like, oh, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But it doesn't work with grown-ups either.
That's right. My husband used to say that my parenting course should be given out in business, because it's the same. Validate feelings is the most important thing, because somebody can't move past them until they're validated. So Brittany once said to me, I hate you. And I said, wow, you must be so angry at me to feel like you hate me. I got it. And she looked at me, she said, I don't hate you. I'm just mad at you. And I said, oh, I said, you're really mad at me. She goes, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at what you did. And the more I got, it's like taking air out of a balloon.
Yeah.
Because what you resist persists.
That's so true. Yeah.
You hate me. You don't hate me. Don't talk to me like, I do hate you. I hate you. No, you don't. But if somebody comes at you and they go, you so pissed me off today. And you go, wow, I really pissed you off. But you can't just say the words. You have to really get what's going on over there. Empathy. It's like, wow, you're really pissed at me. Wow. And you'll see.
But
it's like,
but you have to be actually also mature enough not to take it personally, because our reaction is to start defending yourself. No, you're mistaken. You're getting it wrong. You know, I'm not so bad. That's our normal reaction.
That's where not giving meaning comes in. The moment you see, taking it personally is, it's my fault. I'm bad. I did something wrong. He doesn't respect me. She doesn't like me. That's the meaning we give it, has us take it personally. And the meanings come from our beliefs. So ultimately, that's why I work on getting rid of beliefs, because if you get rid of beliefs, you won't have that reaction. You know, I will never forget this. This is so, I tell the story all the time. When I got rid of the belief, what makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. I know nobody listening has that belief. But when I got rid of that belief, I stopped giving meaning that it means I'm not good enough if somebody doesn't like me. So I go to speak in Pula, and there's like 600-700 people in the room. And I do my talk, and I get back, and they send me some comments. And the comments were, oh my God, I love her, bring her back. Next one, great information. Next one, love her, love her. Next one, boring. Oh, that was great, great information. Next one, she didn't know her audience. I knew all this. Now, if I was sitting there going, I'm good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm good enough, I'm not good enough, how insane is that? So I look at it, and instead of giving meaning, I called up, I don't know if it was Miriam or who it was, and I said, should I be concerned about these negative comments? She said, Shelly, first of all, you got 2 standing ovations. I wouldn't worry about it. She said, and second of all, it's normal. Everybody gets a few when you have hundreds and hundreds of people. So I said, oh, okay. She said, I only sent you a few comments. She said, but your comments were more positive than they weren't. But here's why I wanted to know. Because if I get enough negative comments, if enough people said boring, I'd fix my talk. If enough people said they knew what I was talking about, I would take a poll before I did my next speech and ask what you know about parenting or something. No matter what you do, somebody's not going to like it. So you may as well do what you want.
That's so true.
Now, you can tell your kids that, but you have to add one caveat. This to me is the greatest thing I teach. No matter what you do, somebody's not going to like it, so you may as well do what you want. However, before you do anything, stop and ask yourself, what might the consequences of my actions be? And do I want to live with those consequences?
What will the consequences be of my actions?
Not what are people going to think?
I definitely am going to cut it up into quotes so that I get some notes from that. Shelly, we'll have to be finishing now because the time is up.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming and giving me this interview. And I think, as I was talking, I think I should interview more often. And I just hope I can do it from the place where there's better internet, because sometimes I was like, But thank you so much. You are continuously my huge inspiration, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And I want to ask people who are online right now to send Shelly a heart. It's our little tradition. So please, Shelly, send Shelly a heart if you want more of this wisdom and this amazingly, beautifully kind, loving, sweet, light, warm person. Shelly's Instagram account is somewhere up in the corner, if I'm not mistaken. Just follow her, because she's like, truly, I've been in personal growth for 17 years. If I have questions, Shelly's the person that I know that I can always rely on. So thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Love
and
you.
See you next week. Yes.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye.